releases in the headlines, causing a ruckus in the wrestling community. People go off on how it's the worst thing ever, how so-and-so should have left a long time ago, how they weren't really good to begin with, and all other kinds of hyper stuff online. But once all the anger subsides and all the hyperbole about it being the worst day in the history of wrestling is over with, reality hits, especially for the people who lost their jobs. Welcome to the Rantin Review. We're talking today about yet again another stack of releases from WWE. But before we get to that first, I want you to go smash that like button. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If this video gets 100 likes, okay, I will do Fandangoing in the next video. So who was released this time from WWE? Well, it wasn't as impactful as the last couple of times where you had names like Braun Strowman and Aleister Black and Samoa Joe, despite the fact that Samoa Joe was brought back to WWE under the NXT brand. The two biggest names from this round of releases were Tyler Breeze and Fandango, affectionately also known as Breezango. Other notable stars in here were Killian Dane, so again, another talent that I don't think quite reached their potential while they were in WWE. A bunch of stars from 205 Live, which I didn't even know was still a thing, and some NXT stars as well. So there is, again, the reason given for this being cost-cutting measures by WWE corporate as they try to balance their books. In a tweet from Fandango, he thanked the McMahons for 14 years of being in WWE. 14 years. Now, I don't want to be too negative on this because the guy did just lose his job, but Fandango was in WWE for 14 years. Now, the most that I remember from him is obviously his initial push when he defeated Chris Jericho at a WrestleMania. The next night on the Raw after Mania, a lot of the fans were Fandangoing. That blew up to be a bigger thing. I'll talk about that later. And then the only other thing I really remember from him is later on with him and Tyler Breeze, Breezango and the Fashion Police and all of that. For 14 years, creatively speaking, it seems kind of thin. Money-wise, I think he probably did well, and I'm never going to criticize anybody for wanting to have a steady paycheck, to want to make a living. 14 years of getting a steady pay, that's a great thing for anybody. Build up a nest egg, do what you need to do. However, I do think guys like Fandango and maybe Daivari and Tyler Breeze might have benefited a little bit more from leaving WWE at some point in time, especially in the last decade, and proving themselves elsewhere. Going back to the Fandangoing, that Raw after Mania way back in 2013, it went everywhere. It became a viral thing. There were people at basketball games, people at bars, people at parks, people while they were clicking the like button, people at graduation ceremonies, all doing the Fandangoing thing, and that lasted for a number of months, and WWE just never seemed to be able to capitalize on it with him. Fandango legitimately was at the time a very popular star, and you thought that, hey, this guy might be, a big deal, and within about a month or two, things kind of fizzled out. And for the next couple of years, you really didn't see much of him again until the Tyler Breeze team up for Breezango. But I think, again, guys like him probably would have benefited, especially during the mid-2010s, to have gone elsewhere. Maybe let that first contract expire and then try to be somewhere else. We've seen it work before. Stars like AJ Styles, obviously the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, so on and so forth, have made a name for themselves outside of WWE. Stars like Cody Rhodes have been able to leave WWE and become actually bigger stars than they were in WWE. So could Tyler Breeze and Fandango have left and gone and become bigger stars elsewhere? It's a possibility. Again, Fandango was a viral meme for not that long ago. And Tyler Breeze was a very good wrestler who had a lot of respect from a lot of the fans, and whose original Prince Pretty character, a lot of people thought was really, really well done by him. So the idea would have been to leave the E voluntarily, go make a name for yourself somewhere else, and then later on, the E will probably eventually call you back if they see that you're a big star. And at that point, they'd have more leverage. They'd be able to ask for more money and say, look, hey, we'd like to come back, but we're already making X amount of money, and we got our merchandise stuff, so you want us to come back, you got to at least match what we're getting now, and we want a higher percentage of the merchandise sales. And then if they go back to the E and things don't work out well, they know they can always go back to the rest of the wrestling world and make the same amount of money again. So it becomes kind of a win-win. You have more leverage that way, but because they stayed, now that they're gone, they don't have the leverage, but then again, they did, in the case of Fandango, he did get 14 years of a steady WWE paycheck. And while that may work for some wrestlers, it's not good for everyone. There are wrestlers who left WWE, who tried to make a name for themselves outside of WWE, didn't quite work out so well for them. So it is a thing. It's like you have to have a certain entrepreneurial spirit, you have to have a certain amount of talent, and it has to be the right timing for you to catch on with the rest of the wrestling world and become a star in the rest of the wrestling world. If you're probably not good at that, then some stars probably do need the WWE machine for them to be a star because they just don't have that entrepreneurial spirit. Whether or not Fandango or Tyler Breeze or any of these other wrestlers fall into that category, I guess we'll see over the next couple of months. Now, the other side of this are the rumors that WWE could potentially be sold in the near future. Rumbling started around the last couple of releases that this was a way for the McMahons to kind of consolidate a lot of things in WWE in preparation of selling the company, and that has been a rumor that's been around for maybe a couple weeks now. While there's no real confirmation of this, there of course has been an alarming number of people released from the company over the last 12 months, not just wrestlers, but staff, people who've been there for a long time, referees, writers, all kinds of backstage people have also been let go. So even though it's not a confirmed rumor, it is something to consider that might possibly be the reason for all of these releases. Of course, there's life outside of WWE in the wrestling world. It's not anything new, especially since the mid-2010s. Of course, everybody would assume that possibly AEW could be a place, but that's not the only other alternative. Impact could be a place, Ring of Honor could be a place. They could wrestle, of course, doing tours of Japan, tours of Mexico. There's all kinds of revenue to be made, which was proven in the last decade that there are plenty of avenues to make money in the world of wrestling, and many wrestlers have done this without working for the McMahons. Whatever happens with Tyler Breeze and Fandango and all the other wrestlers, Davari and the Bollywood Boys and all these people who, again, we never quite felt that they reached their potential in WWE, I wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Whoa, sorry, no. I look forward to seeing what they're going to do next. That sounds way better. Thanks for checking out the video, and of course, I encourage you guys, if you're new to my channel, you've never seen anything in my description box below, I got a lot of free goodies down in the description box, so take advantage of some of that down there in the description box. Free crypto, free Amazon Prime memberships, and some free stocks if you're into investing. I will see you guys next time here for more news, rumors, and commentary on sports entertainment here on the Rantin Review. Have a good day.